And we're singing. We're singing. Time to talk. Beauty and the Bitch.
Welcome back, beautiful people, to another episode of Beauty and the Bitch. My name is Mick, and I'm here alone.
No!
Be quiet. Both my friends are
That's a loose
dead or
term.
gone. I can't find them.
Both my only friends are dead or gone.
Oh
my God!
And now I'm
What's
all
going
alone.
on here? Is this a podcast recording? I'm
And
sick of being in
so-
this trunk, I'll tell you that much.
Therefore, I'm going to just talk about what I want to talk about for 45
This is
minutes.
the Bitch and the Bitch Alone podcast.
This is Beauty Squared with Mick Parker.
Oh,
and
he's
today,
got two faces.
Yes, they're both beautiful though.
Okay.
And today we're gonna start off talking
male
about
privilege.
What?
Okay.
Today we're gonna start.
Bring.
Oh my God! You know, look, a gay man tries to talk, and all the straight people be talking over him.
But your phone is ringing.
Hello?
Who is this?
This is Ashley, and I'm gonna come here from Mr. Mick Parker.
Miss Ashley, I done kicked
You know
you out
what?
of my
Shut
house.
up. I am on this podcast too. Yahoo!
And I'm here secretly on a three-way call, and guess what? I am also here.
This is an ambush.
Can I just tell you, when you pretended to call, I pulled out a flip phone, I think. I'm just going to close it up now.
Not shocking. Actually, if
That was
anyone
definitely a
who's
flip
your
phone.
actual friend in real life knows your phone skills, flip phone's not shocking.
I have a smartphone.
You have a smartphone, but girl, do you text me back?
Eventually.
Okay, we're getting real deep here, y'all. Welcome back to the podcast. I know you're here from me. If you're listening to this podcast, it's because you listened to the previous episode. And you know we got a lot to say. And if you haven't, well, you could probably just stick in for this and maybe go
You'd
back
probably
later.
be fine,
Yeah, I think
honestly.
it'll be
You
okay.
can just keep going. Just be
So,
yourself.
we are here for part 2.
We are. This is part 2 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, which is the 6th Harry Potter book. Little known fact, I am the Half-Blood Prince.
Yeah, you are half-blooded.
Elf. I'm half-elf.
Oh, yeah.
Just like Aragorn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, just like
That's
Aragorn.
real facts.
We're gonna get so much hate mail by all the words we just said.
So, surprise to no one, because of all the bullshit that we talk, we didn't get through all the topics in part 1, so we would just like to leap right the fuck in.
But before we do that, I just can't not. We, of course, know that Aragorn's of the Numenor, and we don't believe that he's...
Girl, obviously.
so nobody...
No one who listens to this podcast
That'd be
is
really
Aragorn's
embarrassing.
half-elf.
That's so stupid.
That's embarrassing. Okay, so one of the questions that, Ashley, you brought up that I think is a really good question.
Every question I bring up is a good question.
You've asked a few I thought were stinkers. But I just teased.
The only thing stinking here is your breath.
Wow.
He's really sensitive about that.
And it's only because I've been sucking your dad's cock for a couple days.
Oh, Mr.
I hope he paid you, because, girl.
Everyone's uncomfortable, most of all, not me. I am completely unaffected by this transition.
Listener, how are you feeling?
You get a few cups of wine into us, and all of a sudden, it's old dad cock sucking. That's what happens.
Well,
Dad
in
cock
your
sucking.
case, for sure.
Well, I mean, what
All
can I
right, so
say?
we're jumping back in.
So why didn't they believe Harry?
Who's
in book
they?
6?
Who
Everybody.
is they?
Pretty much.
No, it's
everybody.
Ron and Hermione is what it is, and it's some fucking bullshit. All right, I have a lot of feelings about this, and they're all piling up right now, and I'm very overwhelmed.
Let them out a word at a time.
All right, so this is the situation that we have. Harry's all, wah, guys, I think Malfoy's a Death Eater, and they refuse to believe it because he's 16, but they're totally okay with believing that Harry is the chosen one, or that Voldemort is chasing after Harry, even though he's 16. All of a sudden, age starts to matter, and then they just don't listen to anything that he has to say. Like, guys, this is book 6, all right? We've been here before. You were younger before, and you were more willing to believe him. And now, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, ha, ha, ha. That can't be real. They know he's back. They know he has power. Why the fuck are they not just jumping on that train? I honestly believe if they would have just subscribed to everything that Harry was saying, things would have developed a lot faster, and maybe some deaths could have been avoided.
R.I.P. Hedwig.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, but devil's advocate, and Morgan, I know you have a bunch of devil.
I'm ready to listen.
Devil's advocate, he's blamed Malfoy for everything that has happened. Malfoy or Snape, that's Harry's fallback. No matter what happens, he's like, it was Snape. It was Malfoy. Malfoy and Snape are behind it. Now, this time, Malfoy and Snape really are behind it. But, I get why people were like, girl, you're overreacting, because he's done this almost every book.
But it's not just people. It's his best friends who have known all of the ins. They know everything that he knows.
It's true.
Except for, the stuff that he got when he was training for occlumency with Snape, right? Because he didn't share everything about that. But they know everything that he knows. They know from his perspective. They know shit is going down. And they just refuse to see it. And I think that there are two possible reasons. Well, three, really, right? Okay, that's how J.K. wanted the story to play out, because she needed to have some kind of lull. There needed to be some friction. It's the whole point of Book 6.
Sure.
But on top of that, Ron and Hermione could have just wanted to have a normal fucking year, right? They're dealing with all these hormones. They're like, oh, we've got our newts. They didn't want for any of that to be true. The other possible scenario is that they just didn't care. They felt like the real enemy was Voldemort, and it didn't matter who he had working for him, because at the end of the day, it was all just about him. And they knew that people were going to die. They knew that people, maybe even Hermione understood that people were going to get sucked into it without necessarily wanting to be there.
And she hated Malfoy.
Yeah.
So,
she punched his ass.
So, if something bad happens to him, I can also see where she could be maybe a little callous and be like, so what? He's doing a dumb thing. He's going to fucking fail because he's an idiot, which he is. But, back to your point that, it kind of had to happen for the story. I think their not believing him is so crucial to making Book 7 work, because they needed to be proven extremely wrong when it came to trusting Harry. Because Book 7 relies so heavily on them being like, we blindly follow you. We are here for you. You are our leader. And you can't do that without kind of going through some shit where you're like, you know what? You're always right. And we put our faith in you even when you make bad choices.
Preach.
Well, he's about to make some very iffy choices in the next book.
Indeed.
So it's nice to see them questioning him. I just feel like, look, if I had been Ron and Hermione in this case, and Harry once again was saying Malfoy is the root of all evil, I would have said, girl, you've said this about him 5 times.
Yeah.
And I get why they were just like, no, I'm sorry, Harry. There's too much going on for us to focus on Malfoy right now. I do take your point, though. And I do think psychologically, especially the first possibility, that they don't care because there's too much else going on. I think that psychologically rings true.
That.
Yes.
Yeah.
Life is hard.
They literally battled Death Eaters in the Department of Mysteries moments ago.
Yeah.
In book time.
Ron got very hurt there.
Yeah. Some people got squids on their faces or some shit. I don't remember. Something scary was happening with brains. I don't know. But they've been through a lot, so I can see them just being like, girl, I've had enough of this. But no one believes him, though, right? This is actually another theme of the whole series, is when Harry knows something, people are like, I don't want to believe that. That's too difficult to believe.
Dumbledore knew. He wasn't
Dumbledore,
willing to give up that information.
He didn't say, you're wrong. He just said, I'm familiar with the theory, and don't you worry about it. And again, that's a frustrating Dumbledore-ism where it's like, okay, well, that's not really an answer, so I'm 16, I'm going to just go live my life and put my invisibility cloak on and figure out for myself situation.
Okay, so now it's time for me to mansplain male privilege to you.
Oh, God.
So now male privilege is where men are privileged. It's natural and it's
when we're
good.
done with this, can you tell us about my menstrual cycle?
Oh, my God.
I can tell you about menstrual cycles.
I'm sorry. I don't get it. My little brain, my little female.
I'm so sorry,
Sweet
but before we move on,
it's
could I
okay.
make you a sandwich? You look
I would
hungry.
love a sandwich. Thank you for telling me I look thin also. You're so sweet.
Yeah.
No, but we do want to talk about male privilege in this book because this is something that Ashley specifically brought up. Now, Morgan did just throw all of Ashley's notes on the floor, spit in her face.
Hashtag girls support girls.
Oh,
What's happening right now?
Hey, don't that for me.
Yeah, her, because it was true, honey.
oh, white feminism.
Well, Hermione and Lavender weren't there for each other.
Okay, but
that's the
Lavender's
truth.
annoying as fuck, so it's fine. All right. Hermione,
Girl support, not annoying girls.
I feel you, girl. All right. Every woman in the world has been in her position. This entire time, she has been the studious one. She's been the smart one. She knows all the answers. She's the best in class, the teacher's pet, except for Snape because he hates everybody. But, she's really been the overachiever. I think we can all agree to that. Mm-hmm. Now, all of a sudden, Harry magically finds this book that has all the secrets to potions. And he now becomes the potions master because he just happens to get this
Cliff Notes.
Yeah, this one leg up on her. And in the book and in the movie, they show her being so frustrated the first time. Like, how did you do that? How did you get that right? And I felt for her. And maybe it's just the times, or maybe it was my hormones because I'm on my period.
Upsetting.
But it was very upsetting. And I think it's a true testament to any situation that as a woman you've been in where there's been a man who's just come along and he's just had it easier than you. And that's fucked up. And if you don't agree with me, fuck you.
Seems fair. Yeah, I thought there was a lot of shim-shammery cheating by our favorite people in this book. I mean, I agree with you, first of all. Harry is cheating in class. Like, he's cheating.
Straight up
cheating. He literally has the professor's notes, though he doesn't know that at the time. I will tell you, though, that's not the only time, because old Hermione done cheated at Quidditch tryouts, and I think...
Okay, she was just being there for her boo, alright? She was just like, she was looking out for her man.
Which is what straight people always say when they do nice things for other straight people. Yeah. No, I'm not really taking it there. But I think that should have been cut, though. I don't think that's in Hermione's character.
The Quidditch thing?
I think it just shows how far she's willing to go for someone that she cares about.
Plus, Ron is so fragile that, like, she knew that what she would have had to deal with the fallout if Ron did not achieve that space on the Quidditch team. Her life would have been considerably worse, honestly.
And maybe that's a part of her character arc, because as she continues on in the books, she has to get more comfortable with not being straight-laced and doing things little grimy and dirty.
Yeah, she has to, like, drop out of school. But fun fact that you guys probably already know, but she was the only one of the trio to go back and finish her education at Hogwarts. Because of course she did.
Yeah, I thought there was, and then, it wasn't technically cheating, but the whole luck potion that Harry pretends to give to Ron.
She was so mad about that.
But I call bullshit on Hermione for that, because I'm sorry, if you're going to cheat at the tryouts, I don't understand why you can then get on a high horse about cheating for a game, because she was like, that doesn't count, that's tryouts. Bitch, you ruined that boy's day, and he didn't do nothing to you except be a creep. He was a creep.
Except try to, like, get in her panties.
Yes, he's very icky.
Her knickers.
But that doesn't make cheating okay. I mean, I really wish that just hadn't been in the book, because that makes me like Hermione less. I'm not okay with that.
Wow, really? After everything? Okay. You want to talk about double standards. After everything that Hermione's done and been through and all the effort she puts in, her doing one little charm and throwing one guy a little off of his broom.
For a man, by the way. Because that man is too fragile. That man is too fragile to fail, so she cheats for him. So I'm to forgive women who cheat for men? No.
Can I just be on a total opposite side of both of you?
Sure.
I'm pro cheating in every facet that you You better believe if I found the Cliff Notes version of the potions book, I would be using it, but I would be sharing it with my friends. I'd be making photocopies. I'd be finding the fucking potion for Felix Felices, and we would collectively be making it together. We would have a cauldron full of that shit. We would take it at every Quidditch match. We would take it on the weekends. We would take it to get high. We would give it to people as gifts. We would sell it on the black market. I'm pro everything that's happened. Because you know what? Chemistry was hard.
I cheated at chemistry.
And I cheated at chemistry.
I loved that whole, you know what, I cheated at chemistry too.
I cheated.
Who doesn't cheat at chemistry?
Hard at chemistry.
Really difficult.
It was very hard.
And you know what? If you can do a little help to get by, you know what? When's he ever going to use potions again? Probably almost never, maybe occasionally. But now he's got the spark notes, and that's all he's going to need.
Well, you know what? And the book saved Ron's life when he ends up getting poisoned.
Right?
Right? Because he knew to get the
Bezoar.
I was about to say Bezor.
But that's from, like, did he look it up in the book, in this book? I don't remember.
Yeah, he read it.
Because that's from book one, isn't it?
They talked about it in book one, and then he rereads it in the Half-Blood Prince's potions book or whatever. Yeah.
Because in the movies, which I said in the other episode, I just rewatched.
He just calls it. Yeah.
Yeah, he just remembers, and I was like, he remembers from like year one.
No, girl, he's Harry.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he's Harry. He's not Hermione.
He's not very smart at all.
He's been knocked in the head a few times.
Oh, that was such a great scene. Probably the best scene in the movie was Ron taking the fucking love potion, and like that whole sequence was like hilarious, and then like
funny.
Yeah, but then also like kind of heartwarming, and then like Harry did a good thing, and then Ron sobered up fast, and then like shortly after he like kind of
also in Slughorn, Ron's dying on the floor. He's a potions master, and he just sits there and he's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this is happening!" Like really,
he's kind of
Slughorn or Slug-ish.
Oh, you burnt.
So you know what? That is a perfect transition into. I pulled together a little top 5 list. This is really a top 5, bottom 5, though, because this is the 5 worst professors to work at Hogwarts. Okay?
Ooh, can we guess who your number 1 is?
Yes.
Is it Gilderoy Lockhart?
No, but he's close.
Okay.
There's one other professor who I really hate who's got
Dumbledore.
Umbridge. Dolores.
Oh, I forgot about her.
Yes.
And
okay.
Dre.
But thanks for ruining the 1 and 2 there. Morgan.
I just
that was
wanted
really
to.
well thought out. That was
you
awesome.
just have a thing, and I wanted to play a game, and this is the patriarchy. Do you want to talk about that again?
Oh, okay. Let's talk about heteronormativity.
I
can
can't
talk about
spell
heteronormativity
that.
for the rest of this.
You
I
think
can't.
because I'm blonde?
You know why I can spell
We're about
it?
to do 10-second rounds. Here
Because
we
I
go.
have to live in a heteronormative world. That's why.
You
Number
do.
5.
I'm so sorry.
I don't know if I'll even remember this man. Cuthbert Benz. Do you remember him at all?
Professor Benz. He's like dead as fuck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like the ghost, the
Yes,
ghosty.
the ghosty one. And here's why I put him on the top 5, okay? Or
It
bottom
was
5.
kind of mean. It's not his fault. He's dead.
Well, he's so boring. He teaches history of magic. Girl, that is fascinating. He makes that class so boring. He kills so much passion for all of his students.
He literally died in the middle of the class and then just continued teaching.
He's so boring, he didn't notice he was dead. You should be doing something else, sir. You know what I mean? If you're
or
that
maybe
boring,
that's the perfect job for him.
No, history of magic is
He's
fascinating.
#committed.
He's #dead. He's dead.
Oh my god, do you think they still have to pay him a full salary even though he's a ghost teacher?
Well,
That's
they
a
don't
really
make
good
very much,
question.
so I'm sure it didn't really matter.
You don't think they make very much?
No, Slughorn says that they don't make very much.
Well, he's a fancy bitch.
He is.
yeah, and he's a little mundungus like in the sense that he's like stealing, tries to
Oh,
steal
girl,
shit,
he's a
you know?
trifling hoe.
He is. He's not a winner. Look, he's not on my bottom 5 list, but he's in the
Close.
honorable mention.
Yeah.
He's definitely
He's
in my
just
bottom
useless.
5. He's useless, and then he's the whole reason that we have all this bullshit, because he's such an egomaniac that, you know, he doesn't even realize in the conversation that he's completely being used until afterwards, and then he's like, oh, this is purely for academic, and then he has to hide that memory, and it takes the entire book for Harry to be able to get it, and
That
the
is
only
kinda
way that he
bullshit.
can get the memory is by walking him through the death of his mother, who's someone that he just so happened to like. That's fucked up.
Everybody loves Lily. That bitch must have been hype.
I think she's.
Well, everyone likes Ginny too, so
Do they?
they do. Everyone
Everybody
likes
but
Ginny.
me. Yeah. Okay, so number 4, I think we can probably agree that this guy was horrible. Mr. Barty Crouch Jr. Kind of hot. Kind of hot.
Under the guise of
but-
Mad Eye Moody.
Exactly. Do you remember when he turned Malfoy into a ferret and bounced him around?
That was kind of
It
dope.
was great,
That
right?
was kind of amazing.
But imagine if he had decided to turn someone else into a ferret. Like, you don't turn students into ferrets and bounce them around.
Well, you're a regular Minerva McGonagall.
I am a Minerva. Look, we have to have standards, you know? Also, you know, he's plotting death and
He also was like, let's do these unforgivable curses.
He did unforgivable curses, for
And
instance.
he had that like weird little mouth tick thing.
He did have that mouth stick thing. Yes.
But,
Yeah.
y'all, Barty Crouch Jr., who was also a Doctor Who.
David Tennant.
David Tennant. He's fine. I'm
Fine as fuck.
I can't not with
I
his
would
face.
I would sleep in his trunk, if you know what I mean.
I think I do.
Girl,
Yeah, because it
fuck
was really
Ew.
spacious in there, and there was like nice bed hangings and like
Exactly.
yeah, it's cool.
You know. So number 3, worst professor. I chose this guy because he's got Voldemort's face coming out the back of his head.
Coral.
Oh, yeah.
Coral.
Pretty forgettable. Well, he did let a troll in, too.
Troll!
Lest we forget. He
There's
sure
a
enough
troll in the dungeon.
Ooh, right?
Everyone
Yeah.
immediately report back to their houses.
Yeah.
Except that Slytherin's house is in the dungeon.
Even
Anti-Slytherin bias.
even if like he aside from the Voldemort in his head thing, like, don't you feel like as Professor Dumbledore, head of the school, seeing that person and his temperament and also, like, who he was, like, wouldn't you be like, that was just a bad decision all around?
Yeah.
Like,
It's
maybe
not
Dumbledore
good.
was just a little high when he was like, I'll give it to that guy.
I like his
It's
turban.
fine.
Very questionable.
Yeah. He was just like, not a very good professor. Weird and squirrely. Also, Voldemort's face sticking out of the back of his head. Right? Okay. Number 2, we already said Gilderoy Lockhart. I didn't put him as number 1 because he's a danger to his students. And he's selfish and horrible, but he's not, like, malicious.
But he
He's
was
just
a danger.
selfish.
No, he was malicious.
He was gonna kill Ron.
them. He was going to kill them so that he could get away with his little lie.
But then he used Ron's
that's
stupid
true.
broken wand, and then
That's
now
true.
he's got a one-way ticket to St. Mungo's.
That's true.
But you're right, he's not as bad as possibly your number 1 choice, but he is a real shitbag in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Would you say that he's
a worse
worse
kind of person.
than
No.
Dolores Umbridge?
No,
Okay,
definitely
so see, that was my thing too, because I was very iffy about the two of them. I think they're almost a tie. Because I think they're both really bad for their students' welfare.
You know
but-
what's
Umbridge
great?
is she's like a trumper.
Yeah, she's...
You
well,
know, she believes in her cause so much that she's willing to do anything.
Yeah, she's a literal human garbage.
Yeah, she's literal human garbage. She doesn't care.
Great about Lockhart is that, like, he gets his. He does try to kill them, and he fucks himself, and now he's, like, mentally incapacitated for the rest of his existence. But Umbridge just gets to go on existing and being a horrible person.
Yeah,
So
I thought
it's so much worse.
Freaking Dumbledore's funeral.
Ugh.
I thought the centaurs were going to kill her. I
Me
really
too.
thought they had done killed her, and I wasn't upset a bit. I
No.
was like, go get yours, tiny little toad-mouthed lady. Okay, so we more or less agree. Honorable mentions. We've already mentioned Slughorn, useless, sluggish individual, right? Loves candied ginger for some
Slugho.
reason. I also thought, and these 3 are main characters, but Trelawney,
I knew you would think that because she's a horrible teacher,
she's
like,
a horrible teacher.
in general.
Really
But
bad.
she does have a real talent. She just doesn't understand how to, like, tap and harness it.
Yes, but this is 5 worst professors, not 5 worst characters.
That's true. She's not a good teacher.
She's not a good teacher.
She's not.
And she's also, frankly, not that I have a problem with alcoholics, as much wine have we done
Oh,
tonight.
man.
But she's a really
drunk.
hardcore alcoholic, too, which is a problem for a professor.
Yeah.
I bet she smells.
Oh, like cooking sherry
Mhm, and
like
cat piss.
and like mothballs.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I also put Snape down as an honorable mention, only because, do you remember where he hits Ron in the back of the head with a book?
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Girl,
But
it's
abusive.
funny, but imagine if you had a teacher that came around in class be hitting you in the head with a book.
Also,
I wouldn't have that teacher for long, let me tell you that,
Girl.
motherfucker.
Oh,
That
R.I.P.
teacher wouldn't have arms for long.
Or
I'll
a
play with
dick.
that. Or a dick. I cut everything off.
So he's
What?
like a really knowledgeable person, but objectively not a good teacher because he's difficult to learn from because he's so tense and like
His standards
angry.
are so high, and if you're not at his pace, then he's annoying.
He's not a nurturing
No,
human.
but then if you are at his pace, like in the sense of Hermione, where she would know all the answers, he was even more annoyed because he was like, "Shut the fuck up."
yeah.
So there really was no pleasing him. So I
It's a
can see how that's
lose-lose.
justified.
Okay, the very last honorable mention, though, y'all may very well disagree with me on this. Hagrid, though.
Oh no, he's not. He's not a great teacher.
Good person. Real good person.
You remember when they didn't sign back up for his class and they were like, ooh, nobody told him.
Well, no one signed up for his new. Like, no one got a new in Care of Magical Creatures, and that's sad.
That is sad. But, girl, you might get mauled in class with it. You know what I mean?
But
Like,
you know what? That's part of caring for magical creatures. I don't know. I don't think he deserves to be on that list.
I
don't
wonder
think so?
if
He's
he
got a hard
improved
life.
over time because we saw him at the beginning of his teaching career.
That's true.
Maybe over like a decade, he like honed in on like what a syllabus should be.
and like what are like reasonable risks to take with students?
Right,
you know?
like because he went too deep with like
the hippogriffs.
Buckbeak, yeah, but then he went too basic with like flobberworms.
Oh yes, I forgot about those flower worms.
He was doing his best.
He was though.
Okay, he had a
He's
lot
trying.
going on.
He's a sweet
and his hair was
baby.
messy, and he had all these things to
That's
take
true.
care of. He had all this pressure,
It's true.
and he was just trying to look out for Harry. And like, life is hard.
Yeah.
Which I know this is a thing the internet says a lot, but like we're always like looking to ship Harry with a father figure, and Hagrid was there all along.
Yeah.
It's true.
all along.
And even in this book, when Harry gets knocked the fuck out at the end, Hagrid is the one who picks him up and, like, carries him, you know, and, like, saves him. And he's the one who got him. He's the one who delivered him when he was a baby. You know, you're right.
He delivers him in death in the next book.
Yeah.
Delivers him back to the castle.
That's something I really disliked about, and there are a few things, about the Harry Potter series in general, is I feel like Hagrid fell out as the series went along. He became less and less important. And I remember I loved Hagrid in the first couple books, and I was really sad when he stopped being, like, such a main character. I felt like there was more story to tell with him, you know?
I agree.
I'm also surprised he survives, though, the entire series.
I kind of am,
for
too.
sure thought he was going to die, because he's physically strong. You know what I mean? And often those characters tend to fall.
I think she definitely should have killed off more main characters, personally.
I think
it would have been a much more realistic.
Yeah. Okay, so any professors you would have added to that? Any Flitwicks? Any? I
think everyone else is like, because they've been professors for so long. Like, there were a couple pity picks. Like, Trelawney was a pity pick by Dumbledore, plus out of necessity. But I feel like he made really good choices otherwise.
Yeah, I think you're right. A lot of them were tenured. They've been there forever. They had their shtick. I think you covered the bases. Good job, Boo Boo.
Thank you so much.
Yay.
Okay.
And now, an interpretive dance.
I'm a flower blooming in the rain.
Oh, look at him. He's taking herbology. It's a mandrake.
We were, I gotta be a man. Damn.
Oh.
But I do get to be Drake, though.
Hey! He used to call me.
From his flip phone.
These are my Drake moves right now. No one can see my Drake
not
moves.
good.
They were great. They're as good as Drake's. Okay.
Well, he's Canadian, so.
Okay, so we were going to talk about strengths and weaknesses.
Okay, yeah, so I don't know if any of you have ever heard of a SWOT analysis, but right now we're going to do a SWOT analysis, which is just strengths and weaknesses of our favorite characters. So we're going to start with the top 3, and we'll kind of go around and say what their biggest strength is and what their biggest weakness is. Because at this point in the series, we get a lot of character building. We really know these motherfuckers. All right? So
what order should we go in?
We're just going to be random because that's how we live.
Okay.
All right, we're going to start with Harry.
Okay.
Started from the top.
I think Harry's... I'm going to go weakness first. I think one of Harry's greatest weaknesses is his temper. I think he doesn't know how to check his emotions because he had a very emotionally unstable childhood. And so everything is so new to him, including happiness, that he doesn't know how to, like, tenor either way.
I think that's a great point. I totally agree with you. And I think that temper is what gets him into trouble. And it's also what keeps him teetering on that line of good and bad. And, you know, is he going to go fully dark or is he going to stay, you know, kind of on the good side, and that is his temper that kind of makes that wave happen.
Yeah.
What is his strength? Mickey Pooh?
I think his friends are his strength, to be straight up. He's courageous, but he's not an especially talented wizard compared to the people around him. I think in every book, he would not have survived without his friends.
Oh, God. Every book could be subtitled, and then Hermione saved them.
Yeah. So if you're saying it's his friends, then it's his love, it's his heart, right? It's his ability to still care about other people. And in some ways, if you really start to analyze that, that's the differentiating factor between him and Voldemort.
Oh, that's some Dumbledore shit right there.
Yeah.
That's like his mantra.
Hit him with the wisdom.
Love over hate.
All right, moving on to Hermione.
I mean, I feel like it's so obvious to go in with this, but I feel so strongly that her greatest strength is her intellect and her wit. Like, she's not like the crazy most talented wizard ever, but she is very intelligent, and like she always keeps her wits about her, and she can like measure like what matters and what doesn't.
I think that that's true. I think it's not just her intellect, but her ability to own that that's her strength. And she's one of the few characters
that's why she doesn't have a lot of friends.
Yeah, that's her thing. She's like, yeah, this is my thing. I'm the smart one, and I'm the one that's going to study and that's going to do the research, and I'm going to be practical, and that's just who I am. And that is what makes her so strong and what keeps her alive and what helps her keep her friends alive. What is her biggest weakness?
None.
No, I
She's
think
perfect.
I think her weakness is her fear of breaking the rules. She's not willing to, in the sense that she is so willing to put herself into that box of I'm the smart one, I'm the one that does everything right. She's not willing to get out of that enough. And as we move along the books, and we kind of touched on this earlier, she's kind of forced to do that, and it's a very uncomfortable process for her.
I think also just in general, her fear, like, period, because it's one thing to be like book smart and like be like, I can lay out this plan and organize our agenda and pack our bag and like the most perfect, precise way for everything we would need. But she gets really flustered in the face of like conflict. And that is often like a big problem for her. And like she hones that a little in book 7. Like she saves them a couple of times when shit gets real. But when she's presented with like, you have to be in charge here, sometimes she gets like really shaky and her voice is like quivery. And I feel like that must be really hard for her because she's used to Harry taking that role.
Harry is I know we already finished here, but he's a natural leader, though.
Yeah.
That is a big strength of his.
That's
People
what
do
happens when
follow.
you're the chosen one.
Right?
He
Morgan is like that.
handpicked. Oh my god. You think I'm a natural leader?
You know about following the chosen one.
Okay.
Ding, ding!
One.
What are Ron's strengths?
Oh.
Okay, obviously his weakness is his fragile
Personality?
ego.
Oh,
His
sorry.
fragile ego.
Yeah. I think for sure
Yeah.
it's the crux of like when anything goes wrong for him. It definitely is ego-centered. I think it's really hard to pick out what his greatest strength is.
That is so sad.
And maybe it's the opposite of Harry. Maybe because Harry's a natural born leader. Maybe like one of Ron's greatest strengths is that he knows that he's a natural born hype man, I guess. Like he's a follower, right? Like he's there, except for when he's like occasionally mad at Harry because he has a big ego. Like he's there to be like, yeah, my boy Harry's right. We believe in my boy Harry. And my boy Harry said this. Like, except when they're having like a tiff here and there. Like he is there for his boy Harry blindly.
Maybe his strength is his simpleness, right? Because like Hermione's,
He is so simple.
he's so simple, and I think it's in this book. He gets like he's the one who says you should use the Felix Felicis or whatever. He's the one who tells Harry that. And no one he'd been having that the whole book and no one thought to say anything. But because he's so simple, he sees the world a little differently. And he's like, yeah, this is what we should do. And it's always what's right in front of their face, that they're just Harry's too much in his temper and his emotions, and Hermione's too much in the facts and
She's
figures.
in a book.
Yeah, she's in a book.
Maybe that is like really it is really grounding for them to have like that one person who's like, I live in this quaint house with like my quaint family and like I want to grow old in this neighborhood and I want to come home and have dinner with my family and watch the clock tick to like we're all here together and I just want to like marry a girl I love and have like a family and like forget about school. I'll just have a simple ministry job. Like I don't need a lot of money. Like it could be like negatively looked at like, oh, he has no ambition. But
He's
I think
kind of like a hobbit.
but thinking it's like simple is a sweet way to look at it. Like he just wants that simple life, exactly like a hobbit.
yeah, like 11 C's.
Well, and as far as like strengths that he brings to like Harry into the plot, I mean, if we just think about his family members, they're a huge strength for him.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's got
he
a
brings
clan.
in 7 people, right?
Yeah.
Or 8? It's like a ridiculous number. And that's pretty huge, actually. They save Harry's life and make plot points happen like in almost every book. So I know it's kind of a cop-out, but
Not
I agree.
really.
Simple life, hobbit life, and larger than that, like the community he brings into the book.
Which is the
So-
life he wants to perpetuate.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the reason why I thought about this was because there's a point in this book where Snape is talking to Bellatrix, I believe, and he's talking about Dumbledore, and he says that's his greatest weakness. He has to believe the good in people. And that is kind of what spurred this little discussion topic for me. So what do you think Dumbledore's biggest strength and weaknesses are?
He's so complicated.
I don't think his weakness is that he has to believe the good in people. I think it's easy to say that. I think his weakness is that he's too manipulative.
He's got a god complex.
Yeah, he's got a god complex. He believes that he can control everything and that how he presents information is super important. And it is, but I think there would have been so much to have been gained from a character standpoint, not from a story standpoint, if he would have just communicated.
For sure.
And he didn't feel like he let himself believe that wasn't okay, and then he couldn't do that.
And we learn, especially in the next book when we learn more about Dumbledore after his death, that he's always had a god complex. And he even says it when he meets Harry in the afterlife briefly. He says that he always thought that he was smarter and better than everybody. And he's like ashamed of it, but he's like, but it's how I felt. It's who I am. Like, I'm just smarter and better than everybody. And he tried to manipulate every facet of his life. So when his mother died at the very sad hands of his very unstable sister, and he had to go take care of her, he became very resentful of it. So then he started to manipulate that life, and he lost control of it, and he played a hand in causing the death of his little sister. But instead of learning kind of from that, he sort of just pivoted to a new realm, and he said, okay, well, I'll just go work at Hogwarts and just control that instead. Like, he always has to be in control, even subtly, very manipulatively. That's exactly what he does.
And honestly, that's a Voldemort's biggest weakness too, right? Is that he always thought, like, they're very parallel in that sense. Mm-hmm. They both always believed that they were due for more. And maybe that's why Dumbledore really understands Voldemort's journey in this book, because he's like, hashtag I relate, himself. Me too, you know?
But then I think their weaknesses or their strengths are very contrasting, because there's a facet of Voldemort's that he doesn't trust, and then there's a facet... Wait, what are we saying? Never mind. They're very, like, mirror image in some ways. They're, like, they parallel, and then they, like, cross, and they go in, like, completely different directions.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree.
they do.
Yeah, lack of transparency, man. Lack of transparency. I could see Dumbledore and Voldemort both working in the Trump administration. I could see both of them trying to do it. Because Voldemort would be in it for the money, in it for the power, and Dumbledore would be like, I'm just going to manipulate everyone to make this good after all. But in either case, I don't know what the fuck's going on behind the scenes. And that's something that drove me crazy about Dumbledore the entire time. Essentially from book one, is he's always plotting. Mm-hmm. Always plotting. And he uses people as pawns. Not to be too hard on him, but...
No, he does. Okay, he sees Harry for the first time at the beginning of this book. And he's like, all right, I'm going to take you to the Weasleys, and you're going to hang out there for the rest of the summer. But first, you're going to come here, and you're going to help me out with this. And I'm just going to tell you that we're just going to go talk to this guy. But I'm really doing this on purpose. And I'm not going to tell you why for a little bit. And then I'm going to ask you before I drop you off at the Weasleys, hey, how do you feel about this whole serious thing? And I think that's fucked up. Like, that should have been the first thing that he talked about. How are you feeling? Where are you at emotionally? These are the things that I know.
Yeah.
And he didn't address those needs until later.
Mm-hmm. So true.
So schemy.
So true. And why not just tell, I mean, even more smaller point there, we're going to see Slughorn. You know exactly why you want Slughorn on your staff. Why not just tell Harry that shit right from the beginning? Why do you have to be all secret? Like, we're going to go visit someone. He could be somewhere in the room. Like, why not just tell Harry what's going on so that boy can be your ally?
Because you're manipulative.
Because
and you think that you can control everything and that you want it to play out a certain way. So we talked a little bit about Voldemort's traits with Dumbledore's traits. But I think we learn a lot about Voldemort in this book, more than I think any other book. And it really dives into understanding what I believe to be the three biggest takeaways of Voldemort. And you guys can let me know if you agree or disagree. So if you're smart or stupid. But the first being that he leads with vanity and ego. And he is very much concerned with, like, branding. Like, he's very concerned about being on brand. He's like, I am Lord Voldemort. He rebranded, and then he was like, I'm gonna
He doesn't like to be called Tom.
No, he doesn't like the Tom thing because he's all scarred. And the second thing is that he's all hashtag no new friends. Like, he is very much committed to the idea of he only has people close to him when he absolutely needs to have them there, and they serve a purpose, but no one really knows what's going on. Like, do the Death Eaters completely understand the level of complexity with all of his Horcruxes?
No.
Right?
No.
So, I mean, no one knows. He's the only one that knows. And the third thing is that he likes to collect trophies. He's like a little serial killer, you know? He's like, I'm gonna save this. It's your finger, don't worry.
Is Nagini his best friend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His best friend is a
Definitely.
big old-ass snake.
Who, to be fair, he can communicate with mentally.
That's true.
So maybe he, like, actually knows that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe they're, like, really good friends. I don't know. Like, we don't know, right? But...
They play, like, chess together. Nagini's like, check.
But also, that's, like, super boring. What are they going to talk about? He's
Yeah,
going to be
right.
like, I ate this mouse today. What's good?
Voldemort's like, at least you can eat. I'm a baby spirit.
I hate when that happens.
I know, right?
But oh my god, you're so skinny.
Voldemort. Let's see. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to be a smart person and say I agree with those 3
I'm
threes.
proud of you.
Oh, thank you so much.
I think those are very definitive of who he is. We did an episode on Origins of the Heir, which is that YouTube prequel story of a young Voldemort, and I feel like it's so interesting when we get flashbacks of him, especially in this one, like a young Tom coaxing the information about Horcruxes out of Slughorn, because then he goes on like the next year, like he makes those Horcruxes like right after that, right? So you put yourself in like his shoes. That's like when Harry and Hermione are in like book 6, like it's the same age. He's just so twisted at such a young age that it's just awful. And like every summer he had to go back home to that horrible orphanage that he grew up in, which I think is fucked up. Like they couldn't have like a summer
like they
sleepaway
don't have
camp.
like a summer house for them.
I just don't. I feel like he's so horrible, and he was always going to be that way because he was born in this like loveless, horrible spell situation where his mother died and whatever. But so much could have been different, maybe? I don't know.
But then it begs to the question, you know, if it wasn't him, like, so if Dumbledore would have killed young Tom Riddle, would something worse have come along?
Probably.
Does that really solve the problem, or does that just open the door for deeper, darker, twisted shit?
Because he has this legion of Death Eaters, and none of them are smart enough or savvy enough to become this, like, great, powerful lord. But, like, you know, they certainly would have flocked to a different sort of power. So if it hadn't been Voldemort, it could have made way. There's a lot of unsaid things about the Grindelwald situation. We don't know exactly how all the fighting went down between him and Dumbledore, but, like, I think in some world there's a scenario where Grindelwald is the Voldemort of this era. You know?
Well, it's really, thanks for bringing it up, Ashley, because there is a point in the movie that I told you I wanted to hit, so you're amazing. And it's where Harry is talking, to Dumbledore, and they're talking about the first time Dumbledore met Voldemort. And the exact quote is, Dumbledore's talking, he says, "Did I know I had just met the greatest dark wizard of all time? No. If I had, I... ... And he just trails off. And my thing is that this is almost too complex a topic for Rowling to tackle in this series of books. Because, you know, we've talked about this before. There's a lot of depth that she just won't go into because that's not what the series is. But, like, for example, if he had killed Voldemort, Harry Potter wouldn't exist. Not in the way he exists now, right? It would be a completely different world. And Rowling is not prepared to really tackle time paradoxes in any real way. I literally think that's the reason she wrote those ellipses in, because she was like, they have time turners. Why did no one go back and kill Voldemort as a child? She literally, she just does it. She says no.
Yeah, I think she does that a lot. I think she's just like,
I don't blame her. I don't blame her, girl. There's too much. It's too deep.
It's a big question.
Yeah, well, because, you know, yes, in her, you know, she created this world and it has all this deeper meaning, but when she wrote that book, she had no idea, right, that it was going to be this huge thing and that we were going to be sitting here wondering who fucked who and where they were doing it.
Some grown
all
ass
of these
people.
little details. Yeah. And that's why I think she gets so frustrated with the whole Quidditch thing.
She's like, don't think about it. It's
exactly.
stupid.
Like, this is a fictional story that I have made up. There are going to be holes in it, and there are going to be some things that you just have to accept,
like sports,
because if you dig so deep into that, you're always going to find some kind of contradiction because the story has to play out a certain way.
And it's a problem is that magic is such a MacGuffin. You know what I mean? Especially this kind of magic, you can accomplish anything with magic. So that really, at a certain point, you just have to say, okay, That's not what this story's about. And this story is not about time travel in any real way, so...
You know what? You just touched on a good point. At the beginning of the book, when the Minister of Magic goes to go visit the Prime Minister, he says something to the tune of, well, you guys have magic, so this is going to be good, right?
It.
Yeah, and he's like, well, the problem is the other side has magic too. And I felt like that was a really good precursor for any other little situations that arise where it's like, well, why didn't this happen? Well, because they fucking have magic too. They could have gone back in time and just killed Harry.
Yeah. Yeah, they could have.
Yeah, but she needed those time turners for the book 3 finale.
But girl, then they destroyed all the time turners, but oops, they forgot one and it comes back in the Cursed Child.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert.
So it got tackled eventually, kind of. But that's always the problem with time travel. And that's not
time travel's a messy
and that's
thing.
not her part. Exactly, it's so hard to write about because we can't do it. So
I mean, it's so hard to do. The last time I time traveled, I lost half an eyebrow.
Oh my goodness!
No. But you penciled it in. Oh,
Right.
girl,
Looks really good.
They on fleek.
Brows on bleak. Can we talk a little bit about Malfoy real fast?
Yes.
Oh, yes, girl.
So here's my question. I have a lot of questions about Malfoy. First of all, when Ron says about Malfoy, they're asking why he's going to, what's it called? Bins and Bots and Bergens and...
Borgens and Birds.
You got it. And Harry's like, but why is he going there? And Ron is like, it's a creepy shop. He's a creepy bloke. I laughed
Fair enough.
so hard. I was like, yes, simple, right? That's
Simple.
what I was talking about.
And also accurate.
Simpleton.
And he's right. Yeah. Where else would Malfoy hang out? Except Bergenbots, Big Simpletons, you know?
Big lots.
Big lots. Did you, when you were reading the book for the first time, or maybe perhaps seeing the movie for some of our listeners, did you guess what his mission was right off the bat?
No, and I felt like in the movie they made Malfoy's journey much more obvious than in the book. It was a lot more subtle and like unclear. Like you knew he was like doing
but there
something.
were some Easter eggs. Like when they see him for the first time in Bergen and Berks, he's like, someone asks Hermione, what is he pointing at when he said that one? And she's like, I don't know. I can't see him behind that cabinet.
Yeah.
And it was Vanishing Cabinet.
Yeah.
So going back over it a second time, I definitely noticed it more in the book. But I agree.
Also,
in the movie, it was more straightforward.
That was a super Hermione moment where like they sent her in after Malfoy, which like why would you ever ask Hermione to do reconnaissance in like the creepy store where she does not belong? And she goes in and she's like, oh, just like shopping. And she's like, how much is this necklace? Is it for sale? It was like so unsmooth.
Well, no, she's like, my friend Draco Malfoy he's like just a hair
She's
and
like,
he
"We're
wants to go do something for my birthday. And the guy's like, get the fuck out of here.
It was so unsmooth. And they gave her shit and she was so mad, but she knew.
That's her weakness is spy skills. She ain't got none
Zero.
of them. She's not a spy.
In the next book, she is being Bellatrix, and she's like, I'm Bellatrix! Look at me! Here's my wand! She's very like, don't ask me any more questions.
Well, did you think that Malfoy was gonna, once you realized what it was that he was shooting for, did you think he was gonna be able to do it?
Nope.
Did you ever think Malfoy?
I don't think that he believed in himself.
Never, ever.
And in the book,
And that's step one.
yeah, in the book, Moaning Myrtle is like, oh, I thought you were the other guy. And
My sad
Harry
boo-boo.
was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, the other guy said he was going to come back. He comes in here and cries. And they realize that it's Malfoy.
It was so
and
sad.
it's so sad because he's just a little boy and he's dealing with all these big person problems and his
life
daddy's in
is
jail
fucked up.
and his mom is a bitch
Mm-hmm.
and he's got to deal with this like weird, creepy, soulless
And the
looking
Dark
man.
Lord has moved into his house.
And
Yeah,
that man
what
ain't
the
got no
fuck?
kind of nose. Where is that man's nose?
Gone.
No one knows.
With Malfoy's dignity.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
No, I feel bad
never
for
thought
him.
he was going to do it.
No,
either.
never.
Because also I feel like Rowling kind of likes Malfoy. You know what I mean? Like, he's not irredeemably evil the way some of the
he
characters
is likable. He is.
He's likable. He's funny sometimes.
Yeah, and
like,
you feel for him.
He's funny a lot of
Wasn't
the time.
that the last episode you were here with us, Ashley? Weren't we talking about when Ron goes for a dive on the Quidditch field and Malfoy's like, oh, Ron has spotted some money on the ground.
Some gold on the ground.
Girl, I'll still be laughing about that. That's 10 years ago I read that first time. That's funny as hell.
Yeah,
so
he's
I never
got
thought
some good
he was
lines.
He is shady a little bit.
He was so shady. Ugh.
I think he was definitely never going to do it, but I also think it's really a good thing and a very Dumbledore thing for him to try to, like, kind of go the extra mile to make sure he doesn't accidentally do it. Because he's all like, it would be something he would regret. Like, if he had accidentally killed Katie, whoever, he would have regretted it. He would have regretted it. Yeah. And I feel like he was operating under so much pressure and like a preconceived life that like his father had dreamed of for him. And there's so much that goes along with that, like when your parents put this obligation upon you and then you like feel like you have to do it, especially when the Dark Lord has moved into your house and you're now his pawn, and if you don't do it he'll murder your entire family. Like it's very clear. Which is like
really just you and your mom.
These are your only options.
So like I mean, it's
oh my god, do you think Bellatrix only cared because she was worried like would she get murdered and like the aftermath, like because they're related?
No, because she thought she wanted to fuck him, dude. She
Dude,
thought her pussy
fucking.
would save her. She thought her pussy would save her. She just didn't want to be associated with her sister being shady because she didn't want him to think that she was shady too.
Plus, it's embarrassing for her if they fuck up because they're related.
Yeah,
like don't bring that down.
She was trying to
house.
save face.
I'm just imagining Voldemort's dick right now.
It's
like his nose. It's barely there.
That's what I was wondering. I was literally wondering, like,
how is he fertile after all the transformations?
That's a damn good question. Magic.
He's got magic sperm.
He's got
that's crazy.
He's got the magic sperm.
I wonder if he's uncircumcised.
Oh god.
I wonder if
because he was born in an orphanage.
His dick is gray like the skin on the rest of his body.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's going down a rabbit hole.
It is.
I wonder if he's completely hairless.
Yeah, he is.
There's no way
he doesn't even have eyebrows.
Yeah,
he has no pubic hair.
No.
In a way, that's kind of good, I guess. There's nothing to get in the way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not upset about that necessarily, but I'm just. I wonder
You're
if he got those sexy V.
Does he? No, he doesn't.
He doesn't have those.
He doesn't poop either.
He doesn't poop.
What do you think he is?
Does he pee?
No.
No, but he blows compressed air up his penis.
He's just all sperm all day. That's all he's got.
Oh, queen?
Yeah.
Semen.
Anyway, how would you kill Dumbledore?
If you're still listening, I'm impressed.
How would you kill Dumbledore?
Yeah, if it was your job. Now, of course, we wouldn't want to, blah, blah, blah. But if we had no choice, and you were like, okay, girl, it's me versus the machine, what are you going to do?
I think I'd put someone he loves in a precarious position where it was like, I'm going to kill this person, or you're going to let me kill you or kill yourself or something. Like it's either like Harry or some other dummy, or like it's you.
I would stupefy him and make him think that he did something really horrible. Like, plot twist, he is the Dark Lord. And then he feels an obligation to kill himself.
Oh, that's good. That's some deep.
That's some Fight Club shit.
Yes. Well, I would send his ass a pair of poison socks.
He loves a good pair of socks.
He told us that in the very first book. He said, I want just a warm, cuddly pair of socks. So I'll be sending him a pair of socks with poison.
Girl, you could also just
Harry Potter.
Give him on his desk where he's got a little candy bowl.
You guys, if y'all could
drop
see
in
him
some
right now,
poison gumdrops.
He thinks he's so smart. Like, he's so proud of himself right now.
Girl, that would kill him.
Though.
And Dumbledore would see through your stupefaction, and he would say, you know what? I'm not going to let you kill Harry. I'm just going to zim, 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 zim. And then you get hit with a wall of flame. But me...
I don't think he would see through my stupefaction.
Oh, I think he would.
No, if it was done correctly and it was something super horrible, like, he would believe it. He would believe it. Like, if he thought that he killed Harry, he would want to kill himself.
Oh, yeah, so just let him kill Harry then. 2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah, amen to that. Yeah, kill everybody.
Because we're Death Eaters, obviously.
Yep, we're Death Eaters. You're a Death Eater, Ashley.
Listen,
You have to be.
we've got to wrap this up, but I think we had one little conversation we wanted to have that was really important, really pertinent.
Real quick, rapid fire. Porno names.
That's the
for
one.
our favorite main characters.
Ooh.
And this is how we close it out here, y'all.
Ooh.
All right, I've got the first one. Dumbledick.
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 Harry Plop her.
Oh. Hermione.
Ooh. Ron Dong Weasley.
Neville Longbottom. You have to change
Yeah, it's
it.
basically the same.
Yeah.
Dick Hole Malfoy.
Oh.
Also-
Draco. No, never mind. I lost
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry. Luna
Draco.
Lovegood. Draco.
Draco.
Luna Lovegood again. No
Same.
change.
That's why her and
just
Neville
a
should
porn
be
name.
together, yeah.
I
Luna,
guess so.
love you long time.
Oh.
Ooh. Minerva McGonagall.
Girl, that's just her name. You just put on in it.
It's working.
Minerva McGonagall.
Oh, yeah, it's
There
good.
you go.
It's better. Moaning Myrtle.
Oh, no. Professor Flitdick.
Yeah.
Flitdick. Flitwick. Flitdick. What's his name?
Flitwick.
Oh my god. I just had a stroke.
Flitwick.
Yeah.
He's got a fat dick.
Flitdick.
Professor Fat Dick.
Oh, gross. Not on that little man. No.
Hey.
It's chubby.
He's not attractive, and don't even front to me like he's attractive.
I did
'cause
say he's
small
attractive,
statured.
but you don't know how big his dick is unless you Googled it already.
No, but I didn't say he's got a small dick. I said you know.
Okay.
Ew, no.
Ew. All right. Well, I don't have any more dick jokes or porn names. I don't know about you guys.
I'm full of dick jokes and porn names.
Well,
so I think
that's
it's about time that
fair.
we wrap that up.
I did want to say R.I.P. Aragog the Spider, you're dead.
Okay.
The Fairy, you're lame. Those are my
Who
last 2
cares
points.
about Aragog?
No.
Like, I don't know.
Hagrid. Hagrid.
Definitely.
Yeah, but like, he tried to kill everybody and he didn't
I
give
know.
a fuck.
He was
I'm so
literally
glad
the
that spider's
worst.
dead. No one cares about
Yeah.
him. Plus, he got
Acromantulas.
Hagrid's wand broken in half. I mean, kind of. He was part of it.
Yeah.
He was. I forgot about that Chamber of Secrets
Yes.
bullshit.
BS.
So frustrating.
Well, it's been real and it's been fun and it's been really fun, y'all.
it has been. It's also been 3 hours.
Has it been 3 hours? Kill me.
I will. Thank you so much for joining us, Ashley.
You were great,
You
as
have
always.
all the
We
Potter
love to have
knowledge.
you. Yes.
Our very personal Potter expert. We love you.
Well, you're welcome.
Drake. Ho! All right. So, Ashley, where can our peeps find out more info about you?
Sure, you can find me on Instagram and on Twitter. My handle is lifestyledxash. And please send me all of your DMs and I want to hear all of your mysteries and theories. And if you have some fighting words for me, girl, you come at your girl. I am ready. Okay?
Hit that bitch up, and while you're sliding into her DMs, be sure to check us out on social medias. You can find us at Beauty and the Bitch or B&B Cast, and be sure to check us out on our lit YouTube page.
Not only do we have almost every single episode of the
Almost
podcast,
every single episode.
almost every single one, there's one missing, but whatever. We also have new episodes of Let's Queer Witcher 3 coming
Hey.
out every Tuesday and Thursday.
Tuesday and Thursday.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy.
And while you're on YouTube, check out Literary Darlings, and you can find me personally on the gram at Morganized Mess, or follow my website, morganizedmess.com. That's it,
She's a
y'all.
brand, y'all.
Wow, wow, wow.
I can't do that noise. Can you do that noise, Ashley?
No.
Well, that rounds it up. Till next time, babies.
See ya later.
Bye.
What
Drake
about poison
ho.
sauce? Draco. Draco.
Gimpy hands.
You have a home? Beauty in the Bitch.
You done?
You look
Bitch.
Bitch, Beauty in the Bitch.
Beauty in the Bitch.
Bitch, bitch.